Donald Trump plans to revive a program that provides local law enforcement with militarized weapons. Now, this was something that President Obama decided to rein in when he realized that local police forces were heavily militarized and it was leading to problems within communities throughout the country. However, Trump believes that reviving this program is just a great idea. So let me give you the details on that. He will revive a program that provides local police departments with surplus military equipment, such as high caliber weapons and grenade launchers. Trump plans to sign an executive order doing this, and it will undo an Obama administration directive that limited police agencies' access to camouflage uniforms, bulletproof vests, riot shields, firearms, ammunition, and other items. Now, the Trump administration is arguing, and police unions are arguing, that the cops need these militarized weapons because of the threat of terrorism. They want to make sure that they keep themselves and their communities safe. But in reality, these militarized weapons have been used for things like drug raids. They've been used at protests that they apparently don't like. And so it leads to a lot of distrust toward the police. It's led to a lot of problems, which is why the Obama administration decided to rein this program in. President Barack Obama issued the executive order back in 2015 that severely limited the surplus program, partly triggered by public outrage over the use of military gear during protests in Ferguson, Missouri. Police responded in riot gear and deployed tear gas, dogs, and armored vehicles. At times, they also pointed assault rifles at protesters.
Now, to be fair, they did the same thing to the Nazis in Charlottesville. Oh, no, right, they didn't. That's weird. When Nazis came into town and committed gross acts of violence, not only running over and killing Heather Heyer, but also beating a black man in a garage, 10 staples in his head. Also, a guy firing his weapon who's a Grand Wizard of the KKK. But no armored vehicles and no military outfits there. But in Ferguson, it was black people who were protesting being shot and killed by the police. Wait a minute, time to bring out the tanks. So I wonder if this has been used disproportionately. But I want to give you context that's very important. The list that Anna read you are stuff that Obama said the police can continue to get from the military. So yes, camouflage uniforms, yes, bulletproof vests, riot shields, firearms, ammunition, all those things you can still get under Obama's order.
Just limited.
Yes. Now, what you can't get is grenade launchers, bayonets. What on God's green earth are we using bayonets for?
The terrorists, though.
Okay.
The terrorists are coming, so we need bayonets.
Armored vehicles, weaponized aircraft and vehicles, firearms and ammunition of 50 caliber or greater to the police forces. Okay. So, look, we might need bullets that strong to, rip apart our opponents on the battlefield, and maybe you're firing over a great distance and you're trying to hit the Taliban on the other side of the mountains of Kandahar. Okay, we don't need it in St. Louis. We don't need it in the middle of Iowa. We don't need it in the middle of New Mexico. And okay, put the bullets aside. So maybe, oh man, if there's protesters we really don't like, we should shred them like they're the Taliban. Okay, maybe you're in that camp. Grenade launchers? So, and you think, well, that's okay. They probably didn't ask for the grenade launchers. That's ridiculous, right? Wrong, they did ask for the grenade launchers. In fact, because of Obama's program, they brought back from the police 100 grenade launchers that had gone out to cops all over the country and 1,600 bayonets. Now, one of the reasons that Jeff Sessions gave for reversing this Obama order is, well, it'll help improve police morale. So what? It'll give them nice toys to play with. The cops like to play with tanks and bayonets and grenade launchers. That'll help their morale. Really, where's the circumstance, other than the Nazis in Charlottesville where we didn't use it, where you need any of this stuff? In fact, I'm using that as a juxtaposition because it's so brazen.
We don't even need it.
But we don't need it in Charlottesville.
Right.
All we needed was police work in Charlottesville.
That's right.
We didn't need a tank. We didn't need bayonets. I didn't want anybody launching grenades at Nazis or anyone else in the middle of a crowded protest.
Look, what the reality is this is a way that the Trump administration can further appeal to police unions, which is something that they want to do. They did get a tremendous amount of support from these unions. However, what the underlying issue is, and something that everyone should be kind of irritated about, especially if you consider yourself a fiscal conservative, is the fact that we have this military surplus, right? We spend so much money and waste so much money on defense that there are all these, weapons and all these tanks and all this military gear that we decide, hey, why don't we just resell them to local police departments and just keep spending more and more money on defense? When we spend money on defense, it goes to weapons manufacturers, private contractors. It has very little to do with actually keeping Americans safe. That surplus exists for a reason. We waste money on that surplus for a reason, right? That's what's really going on. And then who gets to suffer from all of that? We suffer as taxpayers, and then we suffer as private citizens who might want to hold authorities accountable and go out there and practice our First Amendment right of protesting. We're the ones that suffer.
And one of the reasons that they gave for rolling this military goods going into the cops' hands is because it makes it look like you're an occupying force. And you're not supposed to be. You're supposed to be policing the community on behalf of the community that you serve. You're not supposed to occupy them. It puts you in the wrong mindset. You know what puts you in the wrong mindset? Having a grenade launcher. If you're a cop, what are you gonna use that for? Can you imagine any scenario where, and they almost always use this for protests, where you would use a grenade launcher? Let's say you got guys holed up in a crack house, right? What are you gonna do? Let's launch an RPG into the crack house? That's insane. Even in the worst of situations. Oh, we got a guy who was shooting at people and he's holed up in a cabin in the woods. Really? You're gonna blow him out of the woods? You're gonna throw a couple of RPGs into the cabin? No, that's insane. America is not supposed to be a war zone. And they're turning it into a war zone. I know it's anachronistic and bizarre, but the fact that they asked for all those bayonets, and those bayonets, thousands of them went across the country, just goes to the sense of absurdity and the insanity of this. Who are we going to bayonet in America? When are we doing a bayonet charge? And who are we doing it against? No, this only helps the defense contractors, and I guess the morale of not all the cops. There's a lot of great cops, but some sick guys out there who are like, oh, if I could just bayonet someone. Support independent media. Come join us at the Young Turks. TYTnetwork.com/join.